Hi, Nick Tockert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Well, folks, I know we haven't been putting out a lot of content last few weeks. My previous video, hopefully, if all goes up, will have explained some of that. But I want to talk about last week because last week some cool things happened, and I will try to splice in both uh, uh, still pictures and maybe even a little bit of hasty POV footage just to show you what we're working on. The gist of it is this: once winter hits for a group like us, there's usually a switch in focus. We tend to one, have more injuries to deal with, and two, we tend to focus more on addressing equipment issues. And we've got a couple people who've been absent for a while. We've got a couple stalwarts like our good buddy Jim. And we're all looking at our gear going, okay, we've had another year doing this, what needs to change? For the people who haven't really made that step of going from borrowing our gear or not wearing enough, in my opinion, to actually doing what we need to do safely, we're trying to figure out what works. Armoring is an incredibly personal thing. Yes, you could go out, you can throw a couple $100 at a fencing jacket. There are lots of makers, there are lots of mods, but you'll never get something that fits. And never get something that fits perfect compared to something you've pieced together carefully. I am a huge proponent for DIY gear. If you're sane about it, I'm a huge proponent because of the cost. Now, there are some things, obviously, you can go out there and you can drop big bucks for and have some great gear. But for those of us on the bottom, we can't afford it. So we have to find what will work for one person and their fighting style, the weapons they choose, will not work for the next person, especially if their fighting style and the weapons they choose are radically different. The kind of gloves you need, for example, if you're somebody who's fighting with a basket hilt and a shield, are radically different than what you bare minimum need for somebody who's fighting pole arm, where they're exposed, or greatsword. Exposed hands simply need more protection. If the protection is wrapped into the equipment, you can get away with less. Likewise, if we're doing steel fencing, heavy rapiers or even foils, you need significantly less impact protection, not theoretically, and I will do a video someday addressing that. But you need more piercing protection because there's always the chance of a foil breaking. That's why so much of the sport fencing armor, is based on being puncture resistant. And I have to look at people's gear versus what they do, how they move, and what they can afford. Now, somebody like Jim's been around for a long time. He knows what he likes. He has one full set of tank gear. He likes it. Now he's going into making his own gear. I am just a proud papa. But I'm dealing with some problems that have required me to step back some. What I do, how long I've done it, and how hard I've done it has come at certain prices. I have, as it's deciding to act up as I speak, my hand has nerve damage. I have nerve damage in my wrist, I have nerve damage in my elbow. That's why more than probably anybody in the guild, the guy who runs it tends to drop his sword. It's embarrassing. As a rather prideful man of an older persuasion, it's there's a sense of shame. There's a sense of shame every time I get up, and I know, despite adaptation, today just isn't a day I can fight. And I've operated on essentially borrowed time for almost 20 years now. I had a spine injury in my 20s, and they told me I'd have to get surgery to the tune of $750,000, or I could try physical therapy and, hope for the best. I did a lot of hard work. I did a lot of stuff to get where I am. And I know that's oversharing, but I feel you guys need to know. I don't want you thinking that I'm just some stereotypical lazy guy who's talking out his butt. Because there are a lot of armchair athletes out there in the different fields. So I popped the button anyway. Who don't know. I've spent the last, again, nearly 20 years building an adaptive system. And most of it's because I realized there was nobody there for me, and I believe you should always try to be the person who wasn't there for you at that level. And I have learned from some great people, but I've also had to do a lot of School of Hard Knocks stuff. So yeah, you'll see me, and it may be an increasing thing while I deal with some of my other issues. Back to fighting with a cane, back to I might have to do some left-handed fighting. I'm not sure yet. But while I'm dealing with it, gonna be adjustment. Please, please bear with me. But while I'm adjusting, I'm working really, really hard on passing on and inspiring the knowledge that I have. Because as long as my brain works somewhat well, I can pass what I know and help people who are much, much healthier to do things that they didn't know they could do, or help people who have limitations transcend them. That's what the guild's about. That's what it's always been about. That's what it'll always be about. I want, you know, a place where people of different styles. I want to go on, and like I do, I have people who are Eskrima guys, and they'll talk to me about what blade makers I know, because I know Purple Heart does some stuff that works well with Eskrima, and can use that against Hema. And Hema guys who are like, hey, you know, I can't afford plastrons. What can I do on the cheap? That's kind of been my other role, and I know it's colorful and it's geeky, but it's what I do. And I'm going to keep doing that for you. Um, but anyway, enough about me. I hope that next week is Thanksgiving, so I don't know if we'll have any fighting for that week. But I'm working on some things. As always, please stick around. Your faith, the fact that people check in and they watch my videos and they subscribe to the channel keeps me going. And my patrons, guys, nobody gets how tight it is doing all of this out of pocket. And the guild members who come out help. Usually they do in the form of donating food or occasionally equipment. I am eternally grateful right now, especially to James Robertson and his parents, because we wouldn't have made it through the summer functionally without their donation of some air conditioners. Actually, we moved out, and what we had just wasn't enough, and we couldn't afford this year with the move to make the steps we needed. It's just there's been some complex stuff, and my health issues have made it where I can't currently work. I'm doing what I can, and I'm the primary caregiver of an autistic my son, and that was my field. I'm dang good at it, but it could be hard. Anyway, Jim helped us out, and every week he brings food, and to help cover feeding everybody. Because what you guys don't see is practice usually breaks down to folks come over, we chat. Depending when they get here, we eat. We fight for a while. We come back up, chat, and eat some more. Sometimes we work on projects. It's a very it's a very home-like thing. It's not run like a club or a dojo usually. People don't come in, "Oh, salute and fight hard. I'm not about hard art. And I'm going to probably do another video about that. But so anyway, this week, a lot I've been babbling, and I guess I'm YouTube therapy. Thanks guys, thanks for listening. But I want to do a couple things this week. Jim is making some really nice armor. He's making his first breastplate wrap suit that he's doing designs, and I'm just making small suggestions. Steph is making armor. It's just slowly rolling again. Some of the regular members, like Trey, because of their work, especially in the winter, they can't make practices as much, and the distance they have to travel, I understand. I do hope to see some more people. I'm sorry, this has been a long-winded video, but I'm going to try to cut, and if it's worked, to some images, and there'll be of Jim working on his armor, and possibly some of what we've worked up with Stephanie's armor. And if that works, I'll cut back to you at the end. Good. Man, this is like snuff.
I feel like I have more control over it. I'm able to get in closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great. I love those.
That's beautiful. Nice. Now this is just armor testing stuff. We're not actually fighting. No, I'm putting that on for.
Hold on a sec.
Yes.
Hold, please. Give me this.
Yeah, that's not smart to have on you.
Oh, well, we're fine. Good. I need to get my POV cam fixed. Whoa! You okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Everybody's okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed, seeing the images of sort of work in progress. If you want running cameras when we're actually making stuff in a fashion that I can talk to you through it, we can set up something. I can do a project day kind of on camera, but I need to know from you guys what you want to see. Okay? What do you want to discuss? This was never meant to be what's happening right now, which is me talking to a phone. This is me trying to talk to you guys. I want a discussion. And before I go, and before I do my usual thing, there is one thing. One of my patrons is a brilliant gentleman by the name of Stephen Augusta, and I wouldn't normally drop his name, but he's gone through a lot of medical problems. He's nearly lost his home, he's nearly lost his vehicle, and he's run a little GoFundMe thing. So I'm going to put that down in the links. Despite all that, he still throws a couple bucks my way. And I am eternally grateful for that. So if you have anything you can spare, at this point I'd almost say, please, he needs it. I know I need stuff, but I'll always say somebody else needs it more. I'm that guy. So I'm going to put a link in the description. At the bottom of the gobbledygook. Please scroll through. It's one of those GoFundMe deals. Show him whatever love you can. even if it's just support, because he's having to go it alone, and that's a hard thing. So, thank you. I will be back with more videos. Please like, share, subscribe. And remember, YouTube doesn't pay me a cent because of the nature of my videos. It's a little too on the edge of condoning violence. So the ad revenue is non-existent. That's why you shouldn't be seeing ads during my videos. If you want to support my channel, like, share, subscribe. I almost made it through a video with that. But anyway, like, share, subscribe, and ring the little bell so that you get everything. I am huge about commenting, and I will take video suggestions from commenters to heart. So please use that. Thank you, and as always, support your local Swordmaster.